Good evening and a warm welcome to today's session on BIC Streams in collaboration with the Azim Premji Foundation. This is on the eve of Gandhi Jayanti, which is tomorrow. Today's session is Gandhi and Music, uncovering little known vignettes. Thank you for joining us for this discussion with Madhukar Upadhyay. Before I hand over to Purushottam from the Azim Premji Foundation, a few quick instructions. You can sign up to our mailing list or follow us on our social media channels by visiting our website. We will share the bios of today's panelist in the chat box that you see at the bottom of your screen. Next to the chat box is the Q&A box. Please do post your questions in the Q&A box. We will ask those of you who have posted questions to come online to ask your questions directly to Madhukarji. With that, welcome everyone and over to you, Purushottam.
Thank you, Raghu. साथियों नमस्कार। बैंगलोर इंटरनेशनल सेंटर और अजीम प्रेमजी फाउंडेशन की ओर से आयोजित इस संयुक्त वेबिनार में आप सबका स्वागत है। आज का विषय है गांधी और संगीत और हमारे साथ इस पर बातचीत करने के लिए मधुकर उपाध्याय हैं। मधुकर उपाध्याय हमारे देश के एक जाने माने लेखक और वरिष्ठ पत्रकार हैं। आप बीबीसी वर्ल्ड सर्विस लंदन में लंबे समय तक अपनी सेवा देने के बाद भारत में कई अखबारों का संपादन किया। मधुकर जी बीबीसी हिंदी में एक लोकप्रिय कार्यक्रम भारतनामा की शुरुआत की, जो आपको पूरे भारत में 65,000 किलोमीटर की लंबी यात्रा पर ले गई। हिंदी और इंग्लिश में समान अधिकार से लिखने वाले मधुकर जी की कई किताबें प्रकाशित हो चुकी है, जिनमें 1915 एक खामोश डायरी और 50 दिन 50 साल पहले शामिल है। इसके अलावा हाल ही में गांधी जी के ऊपर 7 किताबों की एक सीरीज और साहित्य अकादमी की ओर से बच्चों के लिए गांधी जी पर एक किताब इसी हफ्ते प्रकाशित हुई है। पत्रकारिता के शिक्षक के रूप में आप इंदिरा गांधी नेशनल ट्राइबल यूनिवर्सिटी अमरकंटक और जामिया मिलिया इस्लामिया दिल्ली से जुड़े रहे हैं। आप 1991 से 1994 तक प्रेस काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया के सदस्य भी रहे। तो आज का जो विषय है महात्मा गांधी और संगीत। महात्मा गांधी की छवि प्राय एक अक्खड़ और रूखे इंसान की बनाई जाती है, लेकिन सच्चाई इसके विपरीत है। समय की कमी के कारण संभव है उन्हें ललित कलाओं के लिए बहुत वक्त ना मिला हो, पर मिलता तो मुमकिन है वह संगीत के बड़े पारखी होते। संगीत की गहरी समझ की वानगी उनके जीवन के कई फैसलों में नजर आती है। आजादी की लड़ाई में संगीत का अभाव उन्हें अखरता है। रविंद्र संगीत पर वह टिप्पणी करते हैं, शास्त्रीय संगीत के सर्वोच्च कलाकारों से चर्चा भी करते हैं। महात्मा की रुचि केवल हिंदुस्तानी या कर्नाटक संगीत तक सीमित नहीं थी, पाश्चात्य संगीत पर भी उनकी अच्छी पकड़ थी। बीथोवन उनके पसंदीदा संगीतकार थे और पश्चिमी लोक संगीत उनका प्रिय विषय था। तो आइए हम मधुकर जी से आगे की बातचीत सुनते हैं। मधुकर जी, आपका स्वागत है।
धन्यवाद पुरुषोत्तम। सबसे पहले मैं जितने लोग भी हमसे इस वक्त जुड़े हुए हैं, who all can hear me, I want to thank them and thank Azim Premji Foundation and Bangalore International Center for giving me this opportunity to speak on Mahatma Gandhi. 1st of October is just on the eve of Gandhi's 151st birthday, or the culmination of 150 years of Gandhi. It makes it even more important to talk about the person when we see what is happening around us and why we need Gandhi even more, in today's India. हम सिर्फ ये कहकर आगे चले जाएं कि we'll have to go back to the ways Gandhi showed us, that's clearly not enough. We have to imbibe what the Mahatma told us. We have to practice that. And we have to believe in ourselves that we can actually do it. जैसा अभी पुरुषोत्तम जी कह रहे थे कि महात्मा गांधी की छवि आमतौर पर उनकी घड़ी या उनका चश्मा या उनकी छड़ी इससे एसोसिएट की जाती है। जो पॉपुलर इमेजरी गांधी की बनती है वो इसी आधार पर बनती है। जो राजनीतिक रूप से गांधी को देखना चाहते हैं उनके लिए वो दे दी हमें आजादी बिना खटक बिना ढाल, अहिंसा और सत्य के प्रति उनका आग्रह, उसको देखते हैं। ये देखते हैं कि अंग्रेज जो पहले ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी की तरह और बाद में सीधे क्राउन के शासन में करीब करीब 250 साल की हुकूमत अंग्रेजों की रही और उन्होंने उन अंग्रेजों को भारत से जाने पर विवश कर दिया। दे हैड टू लीव इंडिया। उस समय दूसरा विश्व युद्ध चल रहा था, सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर का समय था, जब ये बात लोगों को समझ में आनी शुरू हुई और दुनिया भर में लोगों को समझ में आई कि द सीन ऑफ द बैटल, सीन ऑफ द वॉर is going to shift from Europe to either Japan or this entire eastern part. And if it did, role of India will become very important. And for that, the British had to think twice. And Gandhi saw that opportunity and pressed for it, asked that they should leave India immediately. He said, I'm not talking about tomorrow. I'm not saying they should leave India today. I'm saying they should quit India now. That was the perspective when you try and understand what Gandhi was saying. Right from 1942's Quit India call to 1947 when we actually got independence. His role as a social reformer is really interesting. The number of schools he opened, जितने सारे विद्यालय उन्होंने शुरू किए, उन्होंने गाय के बारे में कितनी बात की, उन्होंने दलित हरिजन उत्थान की, मंदिरों में हरिजनों के प्रवेश की बात की, आंदोलन चलाए। तो वो सिर्फ अहिंसा और सत्य की बात नहीं कर रहे थे, सामाजिक स्तर पर बदलाव के लिए भी प्रयासरत थे, कोशिश कर रहे थे। उनका चरखा, उसकी तमाम तरह के लोग थे जो मानते थे कि गांधी मशीन के खिलाफ हैं और वो इस देश को नीचे गिरा देंगे। अगर अंग्रेज गए तो बहुत सारे लोगों का रोजगार जाएगा और देश की हालत खराब हो जाएगी, चरखे से आजादी नहीं मिलने वाली। लेकिन महात्मा इस पर कोई टिप्पणी नहीं करते, कुछ कहते नहीं। उनकी छवि जिस तरह की बातें वो करते हैं, एक बिल्कुल सीधी सपाट बात कहने वाले आदमी की है, जो कुछ भी छिपा कर नहीं रखता। जो कुछ निकलता है वो गले से नहीं निकलता, दिल से निकलता है और इसलिए उसका असर होता है। महात्मा का ये जो अप्रोच है, द वे ही लुक्ड एट थिंग्स, ये इंटरेस्टिंग। और ये बात गांधी कहते भी हैं कि म्यूजिक डज नॉट कम फ्रॉम द थ्रोट अलोन। अंदर से आवाज आनी चाहिए अगर उसका कोई असर होता है। इफ इट हैज टू मेक एन इम्पैक्ट, it has to be soulful. It has to come from the soul. सिर्फ जबानी जमा खर्च की बात गांधी नहीं करते। और जब वो म्यूजिक की बात करते हैं तो एक बहुत मशहूर उनका वाक्य है, जिसमें किसी व्यक्ति ने उनसे पूछा कि आप कैसे इतना काम करते हैं और कैसे आप थकते नहीं, ऊबते नहीं, कौन सी चीज है जो आपको दैट कीप्स यू गोइंग? Gandhi's answer was, if there was no music and no laughter in me, I would have died of this crushing burden of my work. म्यूजिक, संगीत गांधी को कहां से मिला और कितनी गहराई तक गांधी संगीत को समझते थे? संगीत को समझते क्या? संगीत उनके लिए मनोरंजन का साधन नहीं, लेकिन उससे गांधी का पहला परिचय, his first introduction to music, when did it start? Where did it start? Who started? Was he ever formally trained in music? I request the first slide to come up, because it is really, really important to know from where music reaches Gandhi and at what age. गांधी जी की मां पुतलीबाई, she was a devout lady, and every week she will go to the Vaishnav temple at Porbandar. Gandhi from the age 2, अपनी उनके घर में एक महिला काम करती थी जिनको गांधी जी बुआ कहते थे, रंभा बुआ। वो रंभा की गोद में शुरू में और बाद में उनकी उंगली पकड़कर मां के साथ वैष्णव मंदिर जाते थे, जिसकी सीढ़ियों पर बैठे हुए लोगों से उन्होंने पहली बार संगीत सुना, भजन सुने। समझ में आया कि नहीं आया ये अलग बात, और जाहिर है नहीं आया होगा। एट द एज ऑफ 2 you do not really figure out what the words mean, but the music can reach you even at that age. It can move you, and that's what happened with Gandhi. Before I go any further, I would request if we could play Vaishnav Jan, that such melodious tunes and the music that actually moves you. It being instrumental, you really do not need to know what words it is, singing, or what music is being created on, for which particular bhajan, but it does move you. I would request that we continue with this slide, because I'll talk about Alfred High School. Can we go back to the slide, first slide, please? Gandhi in Porbandar went to an elementary school, and till the age of 6, Gandhi had not only been a regular to the Vaishnav temple along with his mother and Rambha Bua, he was listening to the songs, the bhajans over and over again. He had memorized many of them, and he would sing when alone some of those bhajans. Gandhi's mother, Putli Bai, used to listen to him, and she thought he had a very melodious voice. And she thought there would be a future for Gandhi in music. There could be. So when at the age of 7, Gandhi's father, Karamchand, shifted to Rajkot, and Gandhi got admitted to a school, middle school in Rajkot. There was no going to the Vaishno temple any longer. So Putli Bai would ask Gandhi to sing some of the bhajans that he had memorized, and he would oblige. वो गाकर सुनाते थे पुतली बाई को भजन, और इस तरह उनको याद आता था कि वो पोरबंदर में किस तरह मंदिर जाया करते थे, और the stories around the visits to the temple. पुतली बाई को ये बात इतनी ज्यादा अच्छी लगती थी, गांधी की आवाज, अपने बेटे की आवाज. Every mother likes the voice of her son or daughter. But Putli Bai was convinced that Gandhi had music in it. So much so that she once asked Karamchand to get a harmonium for Gandhi. And Karamchand was furious. The Diwan of Rajkot thought this was the age for Gandhi to go to school, to study, and not to be playing around with musical instruments. A harmonium like that. But one evening, when Karamchand returned from the Diwali, वो बाजार से होकर आए थे, और 2 लोग एक हारमोनियम ले आए जो गांधी को दिया. गांधी ने लिखा है कि उसमें से जो भजन मैंने सुने थे, बिना किसी ट्रेनिंग के, बिना किसी गुरु के पास गए, मैं 2 भजनों की धुन हारमोनियम पर निकाल लेता. राजकोट के इसी स्कूल, एल्फ्रेड हाई स्कूल, जिसकी तस्वीर आप देख रहे हैं, में पहुंचने के बाद, जैसे his connection with music kind of snapped, खत्म, इसलिए कि now they were new friends. Now Gandhi had interest in other things. Other things meaning, not many of us, even I didn't know, till some time back, that Gandhi was a good cricket player, and that he learned the basics, and he became a fine bowler at Alfred High School. But the cost of being a good bowler, every team wanted him to be on their side. It cost, dearly, because Gandhi and music almost ended there. So that it appears like that. But there was something in him which carried on, maybe dormant, maybe waiting for its time. Maybe the Ramdhun that he used to, and if you can go to the next slide, the Ramdhun that he used to sing, was by, put to tune and sung by others much later. But this Ramdhun actually traveled with Gandhi to South Africa. There was a kind of ashram bhajanavali, a selection of songs that he and others sang at first Phoenix and then Tolstoy ashram. was called Nitya Kavya. Nitya Kavyo in Gujarat. And Ramdhun was one of them. And where did it come from? From Porbandar, from Vaishno Temple. When D.V. Palushkar first met Gandhi, Gandhi requested him to put the song to music, give a tune to it, so that when the ashram people sing it, they find the real meaning of the words. Could you have Palushkar Sahib singing?
रघुपति राघव राजा राम बधिर पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम बधिर पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम बधिर पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित 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 पावन सीताराम.
Upon his return from South Africa in 1915, Gandhi set up his first ashram in India near Ahmedabad in Kochram. It was a small house, not the kind of place, like he says in his autobiography, a 50,000 square feet area that he looked to set up his ashram in India. It was much smaller, but Kochram was his first ashram. There were issues, there were problems of funding. He didn't know if people who were promised money will actually be giving it, or would they stop it at some point, because the promise initially was for just 1 year. And then there was plague, and Gandhi saw that as notice to vacate, to leave Kochram. A new place was found on the banks of Sabarmati River, and that's how they moved to Sabarmati. Gandhi would go and stand near at the banks of Sabarmati, listening to the river, the flow of river, the sound of that river, the water as it flows. And he then approached Pandit Moreshwar Khare, Narayan Moreshwar Khare, that he should come and be a part of the ashram. Moreshwar Khare was more than agreeable. He came, and between Pandit Moreshwar Khare, Mama Phadke, Binova, Balko Abhave, Onkar Nath Thakur, and Pandit D.V. Palushkar, they set to tune to nearly 400 bhajans that were sung at the Pratna Sabhas and in the ashram. 400. These small things, that music really mattered to Gandhi. It comes out so clearly in his letters to Moreshwar Khare before he had come to Sabarmati. Gandhi wrote 9 letters. All of them are long letters. 9 letters to Moreshwar Khare talking about music. he talks about it in Young India in 1915, 16, 17, 1920s Young India. In 24, finally, when Morishwar Khare joined Sabarmati Ashram, things were a bit streamlined, and that made Gandhi happy. Gandhi used to see that, and he had seen that in Champaran in 1917. Gandhi was in no mood to launch a South Africa type, non-cooperation movement in India. He thought that India was not ready for it, and he'll have to wait for at least 5 years. And that's what he told C.F. Andrews when they met at Shantiniketan. Andrews wanted to know कि आप अपना आंदोलन कब तक शुरू करेंगे, और गांधी का कहना था कि इसके लिए 5 साल कम से कम इंतजार करना पड़ेगा। ये 1915 की बात है, लेकिन 1917 में गांधी चंपारण जाते हैं और पहली बार जो उन्होंने लोगों का रिस्पांस देखा, उससे उन्हें लगा कि शायद 5 साल रुकने की जरूरत ना पड़े। भारत उससे पहले दक्षिण अफ्रीका की तरह के आंदोलन के लिए तैयार हो। वहां जो मोरिशर खरे को जो पत्र हैं और जो यंग इंडिया में मैं 2 उदाहरण उससे देना चाहूंगा। जब वो लोगों से बात करते थे बड़ी जनसभाओं में और हजारों की संख्या में लोग उन्हें सुनने आते थे, उन्होंने लिखा है, एंड आई कोट, एट टाइम्स वी फाइंड रेस्टलेसनेस इन अ लार्ज गैदरिंग, दिस कैन बी अरेस्टेड and calmed if all sing a national song. This is 1920. We have an example of the power of music in the fact that boatmen and other laborers raised in unison the cries of Har Har and Hayya Ho. This helped them in their work. So music must get a place in our efforts at popular mass awakening. Unquote. He said that the freedom movement was not gaining the momentum that it should have. And it was very clear to him within 5 years of his arrival, he knew that what was lacking in the national movement. The freedom movement, what should be done? And not once or twice, he goes on harping on the point that music has to be there. You cannot have independence minus music. Because and in in same year 1920-21 in Gujarat, he again said that if I had any influence, I quote Gandhi, he said, if I had any influence, I would make compulsory a proper singing in company of national songs. I should have great musicians attending every conference that the Congress holds. He says music has to be there. It has to be there. It is it's a means of spiritual development. So it has nothing to do with politics or fighting for your cause or something. It is much more than that. उससे बड़ी बात है, वो गांधी जी का एक बहुत मशहूर बहुत नोन विषय है जिसको वो रचनात्मक कार्य कहते हैं, constructive work. And Gandhi said that one of the constructive works that he can think of, and he would keep saying it time and again, was to listen to music. Listening to music is a constructive work, according to Gandhi. In 1926, again in Gujarat, in Ahmedabad, Gandhi says, if we use a broad interpretation of music, if we mean by it union, concord, and mutual help, it may be said that there is no department of life we can dispense with it. He is requesting, by writing in magazines, in his speeches after his speeches, asking people to send their children to music schools so that they learn the basics. In 1930, he went for the Salt March and the Dandi March. And one of the greatest exponents of Hindustani classical, Pandit Onkar Nath Thakur, he belonged to Surat. And Pandit Onkar Nath Thakur wanted to see Gandhi and talk to him. Because Gandhi had made his points about music, and obviously it was noticed. ओंकार नाथ जी को ये मालूम था कि गांधी संगीत के बारे में क्या सोचते हैं. We can go to the next slide and show you that during the Dandi March, the exponent of Hindustani classical of Gwalior Gharana, Pandit ji, came to see him near Bharuch. And there were two people already there. Abbas Tayyab ji, who I don't know why, but Gandhi had given him a name called Bhar, because he had flowing white beard. But Abbas Tayyab ji was referred to by Gandhi as Bhar. Bhar's daughter, Rehana Tayyab ji, was on the stage and was singing in every Dandi meeting. When Pandit Onkar Nath Thakur arrived and wished to sing at one of those meetings, Gandhi ने उनको मना करने का प्रश्न ही नहीं था. He just agreed. And Pandit ji sang there two songs. One, I'll give you the Hindi words for that song. It says, Girine girao, majhar mein bahao. Drop me from the top of the mountain, throw me in the flowing river. Bhavsagar mein dubao, sink me in the oceans. Magar हाथ नहीं छोड़ेंगे. We'll always be with you. Do whatever you wish. And Gandhiji was so moved listening to this song that he said, Pandit Onkar Nath Thakur can achieve through one song what I cannot achieve through several speeches. Onkar ji later on, from the same stage, sang Vande Mataram. Could we have the This, I mean, those who know music, understand music, would know that this is composed in Rag Desh. So really melodious, really heart-touching. And, you know, it would be interesting to point out here that on 15th of August, 1947, early in the morning, All India Radio played the song first thing when the broadcast began. Now, after this Dandi Kooch was in 1930, March, April. But there were a lot of other things going on. And there were meetings after meetings. There were news that the British wanted to go back on Gandhi-Irwin Pact. And there was a roundtable conference organized in London. The British wished that the Gandhi-Irwin Pact and the roundtable conference should not be equated, should not be put in the same paragraph. Alag-alag kar dena chahiye inko. And Gandhi was dead against it. The Shimla conference with the Viceroy finally paved the way for Gandhi to go to London as a representative of Congress, along with other representatives, and participate in it. Gandhi, in early 1931, there were letters coming to Gandhi. People were making their own intelligent guesses as to when would that happen. लोग गांधी को चिट्ठियां लिखते. One of those letters was from a British lady who was following Gandhi since his South Africa days. Impressed थी बहुत उनके सोचने के ढंग, उनके बात कहने के ढंग से और उनके विचारों से, और चाहती थी कि गांधी जब लंदन आए, उन्होंने एक छोटा आश्रम बना रखा था ईस्ट लंदन में, जो मजदूरों की बस्ती थी. वहां गरीब लोग रहते थे. उस बस्ती के बीच में मोरियल लेस्टर उनका नाम था. मोरियल लेस्टर का एक आश्रम, किंग्सले हॉल. मोरियल लेस्टर का मन था कि गांधी वहां ठहरे. एंड गांधी रोड बैक सेइंग मुझे कोई समस्या नहीं है, मैं आकर आपके पास ठहर जाऊंगा, लेकिन मुझे किसी एक विशेष काम से आना है. अगर मेरे उस सम्मेलन में जिसमें मुझे शामिल होना है, उन लोगों को, उसके आयोजकों को, the organizers have no issues, then I can come and stay with you. Obviously, Muriel Lester was able to influence people, tell them that Gandhi would be staying there and there will be no problem in his travel and other things. He can keep all his appointments. They agreed. Gandhi वहां चले. किंग्सले हॉल में गांधी के रहने का जो मुरियल लेस्टर की किताब है, जो किस्से वो बताती हैं, वो अद्भुत है, क्योंकि वो वहां नाम के लिए ठहरे थे. एक तरह से सुबह से लेकर देर रात तक बैठकें थी. उनको आश्रम में रहने का समय नहीं मिलता था. थोड़ा सा समय मिलता था तो शनिवार, सैटरडे, संडे, और गांधी के लिए उतना पर्याप्त था. गांधी चाहते थे कि थोड़ा वक्त वो मजदूरों की बस्ती में घूमकर, लोगों से मिलकर, उनसे उनकी समस्या समझ सके। उनको बुलाने वाले बहुत सारे लोग, बहुत सारे मजदूर चाहते थे कि गांधी उनके घर आए। उसमें कुछ एक थे जो कुछ अखबार थे, कुछ पत्रिकाएं थी जिसमें लिखा जा रहा था कि इज अ डिजास्टर एंड हिंदुस्तान को कबाड़ा करके रखेगा ये आदमी, गोबर गणेश है, इसको कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है। बट they were the number of people who had, who were convinced that Gandhi had a 24 karat heart of gold, वो उनको बुलाते थे। गांधी जा सकते थे कि नहीं जा सकते थे, या कितने घरों तक पहुंचे, लेस्टर की किताब पढ़ के साफ होता है कि वो दिन में सैटरडे संडे में से 2 घरों में चले जाया करते। एक घर में एक औरत का बच्चा बीमार था और वो चाहती थी कि गांधी आकर उसे छू लेंगे तो वो ठीक हो जाएगा। गांधी ने मना किया, उन्होंने कहा कि आई डोंट हैव एनी मैजिकल पावर्स, मेरे पास कोई हीलिंग पावर नहीं है, मैं कोई जादू नहीं कर सकता। बट शी इंसिस्टेड एंड गांधी वेंट। सैटरडे को मुरियल लेस्टर का जो आश्रम था वो आमतौर पर बंद ही होता था, क्योंकि वहाँ कोई आता नहीं था। मजदूर दिन में काम करने पे चले जाते थे और रात में लौटते हुए इतने थके होते होंगे कि आश्रम आने की कोई कारण नहीं बनता था। लेकिन शनिवार को आश्रम के दरवाजे 3 पेंस का टिकट लगा दिया जाता था और वो दरवाजे खोल दिए जाते थे। दैट वाज द ओनली ग्रीन एरिया एंड ब्रीदिंग स्पेस फॉर द लोकलाइट्स, for people living in that area. वो जब वो खुलते थे दरवाजे सैटरडे को, तो सैटरडे और संडे दोनों दिन लोग वहां आते थे, गाना गाते थे, नाचते थे। और किंग्सले हॉल और उनका जो मुरियल लेस्टर का आश्रम था वो एक तरह से एक बिल्कुल जीवंत रचना की तरह हो जाता। It used to come alive. गांधी ने पहले दिन वहां से किंग्सले हॉल के बगल से गुजरते हुए उनके कान में एक धुन पड़ी और उन्हें अच्छी लगी, तो ये दरवाजा खोल के अंदर चले गए। Since he was a guest of Muriel Leicester, nobody would stop him and nobody would ask for the 3 pence that everybody else had paid. ये अंदर जाके खड़े रहे और वो गाना सुनते रहे। मैं चाहता हूं कि आप भी सुने वो स्कॉटिश गीत।
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup, oh kindness yet, for days of old lang syne.
Auld Lang Syne is actually a Scottish folk song, which was arranged or rather rearranged by Robert Burns. And the words that Robert Burns gave it have lived with us. The meaning of Auld Lang Syne is remembering the old days, the days gone by. You may have troubles, but you try and forget that as something positive. You don't crib about your past. You celebrate it. And Gandhi liked that. the Congress delegation that had gone to London with Gandhi was upset with Gandhi. उनको समझ में नहीं आ रहा था कि राउंड टेबल कॉन्फ्रेंस चल रही है, इतना सीरियस मामला है, and Gandhi goes to listen to a song, and for what? They tried, to tell him कि आपको ऐसा करना नहीं चाहिए. This is no good. Gandhi's response was कि हम जिसकी बात कर रहे हैं, अगर हम उन लोगों के साथ जुड़ नहीं सकते तो हमारी बात का कोई महत्व नहीं होगा, वो भारत हो या इंग्लैंड. यू हैव टू कनेक्ट टू द पीपल जिसके बारे में आप बात कर रहे हैं, जिसका भला आप चाहते हैं. A disconnect would take you nowhere. Disconnect with the people. They were not convinced, but who would stop Gandhi from doing what he was doing? One day, Gandhi went to the hall as usual and was listening to the song. He saw that people, made a goal ghera, and they all started dancing on this. And then they would disperse and become, dance in pairs. Suddenly, one lady raised her hand, and asked to stop the music. And she asked Gandhi, would you like to dance with us? It took not even a second for Gandhi to say yes. He said, but I see a problem there. You're dancing in pairs. There's a girl and a boy together, a lady and a gentleman, and I'm alone. The lady came forward and said, Mr. Gandhi, just don't bother about it. आप जिसको भी identify कर दें, जो भी कहें, she will be more than happy to dance with you. Gandhi said, I will. I have made a promise that I will dance, and I will dance. The only concession I want is that you allow my walking stick that I carry with me to be my partner in dance. And the lady obviously had no problem, and Gandhi danced and danced for good 20-25 minutes on odd lang syne. It is the association that you see. You see how Gandhi sees music as means of reaching out to people who you are talking about, who you're concerned with. The message that you should send. At the end of the Roundtable Conference, Gandhi traveled to Europe because, there were a lot of letters coming to him, people wanting to see him. He was rejecting some, accepting some. He particularly had rejected one letter, from an actor who wanted to see him, and Gandhi, put it in the rejected list. Muriel Lester quickly intervened and said, Mr. Gandhi, Charlie Chaplin's letter, you cannot down. He's not just an ordinary actor. He comes from East London, belongs to a poor family, and speaks his heart. And what he wants to discuss with you is the relationship that a man should have with the machine. Gandhi agreed and met Charlie Chaplin. We have all seen the pictures. And the conversation, of course, is part of collected works of Mahatma Gandhi. Anybody can see that. Chaplin later made a film on Man and Machine, where the machine wipes, feeds the man, wipes his lips, and does everything. This is what Gandhi was trying to convey to Chaplin that machines may be important, but they cannot do one thing, and that is to think. That role will remain with us, with human beings. So after that, after the RTC, the Roundtable Conference, Gandhi visited Europe. And he wanted to see Romain in south of France. When Gandhi's train reached there, and when Gandhi started from Victoria Station in London, the entire ashram, the ashramites, people of East London had come to see him off. And at this station, they sang the song Auld Lang Syne once again. Gandhi waved at them. And when the train stopped in, at a station south of France where Beethoven's house was, he knew that Beethoven was unwell. Romerola was unwell, but he expected somebody because he didn't know the way to Romerola's house. Romerola's sister had come to see him, to pick him up. They went there. Gandhi stayed with Romerola for 3.5 days. There were discussions after discussions on various issues. Romerola had a big wall, blank wall, which had 7 pictures. It had a picture of Tolstoy, and some other legendary writers and musicians of that period. And there were 2 pictures from India. One was Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, and the other was Gandhi. Of the 7 people that Romerola, would really respect in whatever they were doing, Gandhi figured in that list. This is 1931. Gandhi knew, he had heard Romerola play piano earlier, and he knew he actually does a very good job. We made a request to Romerola to play for him the 5th Symphony of Beethoven. Would we have the number? See, this symphony played in C minor, has a kind of positivity embedded in it. The interpretations of the 5th Symphony say that it is like fate knocking at your door. After Romerola played this, and he was infirm. I mean, he was not able to stand on his own. He had to be lifted from the bed and his fingers put on the keyboard. After this number, Romerola played yet another song for Gandhi on piano. and that was a Greek song, Final Resting Place of the Brave. Gandhi had probably heard the song earlier because as Romerola played, Gandhi could repeat the words. Gandhi knew Latin, but he also knew a bit of Greek, was not known to me. This is how, how closely Gandhi was connected with music, be it folk, Hindustani classical, Carnatic, Western classical. There was nothing that Gandhi would stop at if there was a message and if the music that he was listening to was actually touching his heart. This is, the Symphony of Fate of Beethoven. Once he returned, he needed the faith in himself and in the people of India more than ever. In 1932, when he was to go on a fast, because there was separate, the issues of separate electorate and there were Harijan issues in the country, he would keep reminding himself of the song Vaishnav Jan. Vaishnav Jan to tene kahiye, jo peer parai jane. If you're not able to listen to it, if you're not able to listen to the sounds of the heart of somebody, who is in trouble, you are good for nothing. The Vaishnav Jan had survived with him. It had stayed with him since his childhood, the Narsi Mehta's bhajan, as I told you earlier. But he wanted somebody to really, compose it in the classical form. There was one Vaishnav Jan composed by Pandit Moreshwar Khare, but then Gandhi made a request to M.S. Subbulakshmi to sing it for him, to compose it. And M.S. There were some other people who were trying to, put Vaishnav Jan to proper tune. But MS was able to record it and send it across to Gandhi. And, that song, that the variants of Vaishnav Jan as sung by MS, everything else is a copy of that. Once she did it. Could we have the MS's Vaishnav Jan in classical music, which was set in, in Raga Mishra Khamach?
नवजन तो तेले कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे वैष्णव जन तो तेले कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे पर दुखे उपकार करे तो ये मन अभिमान न आने रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे सकल लोक सहुने वंदे निंदा न करे के नीरे वाचका मन निश्चल राखे धन धन जननी ते निरे.
And incidentally, I must tell you, one of the great singers of our time, Pandit Jasraj, was also working on it independently in the same raga, Mishra Khamaj. And he was able to compose it and send it across to Gandhi. But the recording probably reached Gandhi after MS. So we have a piece where Pandit Jasraj is, at a much later date, singing with Alka Yagnik, putting Vaishnav Jan to tune.
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे. वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे. सकल लोक मां सहुने वंदे निंदान करे के नीरे.
वाच काच मन निश्चल राखे धन धन जननी तेरी रे. वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहे जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे.
This was Pandit Jasraj, and a way to remember him. The way he touched our souls with his voice conveys a lot more than would normally the words would do. Narsi Mehta's bhajan has also been put to music by Gangubai Hangal, by Bismillah, by any number of people that you can think of. Pandit Mallikarjun Mansoor. Everyone has tried, and most of them, incidentally, have set it to Mishra Khamaj. In 1932, Gandhi was arrested and sent to Yerwada Central Jail, which he used to call Yerwada Mandir. Till now we've seen that Gandhi had interest in folk and classical and Western classical. But Gandhi's understanding of music and the words that reached him, I don't know where it reached. The next song that I'm going to refer to reached him from, but it stayed with him. It was on the issue of separate electorate that Gandhi was going to undertake a 21-day fast in Yerwada prison. And one day he wrote to the Viceroy saying that I have decided to go on a fast. People were telling him not to do it. His health was not good. But Gandhi would listen to no one. And before he sat for fast that day, he started singing a song. This song, we don't know exactly really who composed it, who wrote it. One name that figures in the records is of Pandit Vanshidhar Shukla. But maybe like Robert Burns, the song had existed for a long time. Vanshidhar Shukla had gave it new words. उठ जाग मुसाफिर भोर भाई अब रैन कहाँ जो सोवत. जो जागत है, one who is awake will reach the destination. One who is asleep will lose it. उठ जाग मुसाफिर भोर भई, अब रैन कहाँ जो सोवत है. Can we have the song?
उठ जाग मुसाफिर भोर भई, अब रैन कहाँ जो सोवत है. जो जागत है सो पावत है, जो सोवत है सो खोवत है. उठ जाग, उठ जाग, उठ जाग, उठ जाग, उठ जाग, उठ जाग.
You may be surprised listening to Mohammad Rafi Saab, for this song. Actually, Rafi sang it good 45 years after Gandhi sang it in Yerwada prison. That was in year 1932. And Rafi sang it for a film made in a film called Aankhin Dekhi. And the music was released in late 1960s. Rather 70s, 1978. I decided to play this for you because it gives you a context to understand the impact that Gandhi thought music would have on the inmates of jail and on the country outside. When he was going to sit on the fast and sing, there were two people there in the jail with him, Mahadev Desai and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. When Gandhi started singing, Mahadev Desai joined. The second person to come along was Sardar Patel. And then there was an old inmate of the jail who had a very good voice. He joined. And no sooner than anyone would expect, the entire jail compound was singing Ut Jag Musafir Bhor Bhai. Gandhi's love for music is one thing, but his philosophy of music was entirely different. In volume 82 of Collected Works of Mahatma Gandhi, he specifically mentions this. He says, I quote, "In true music, there is no place for communal differences." Gandhi is linking communal disturbances of that era, that time, to linking it to music and saying why music is important. In true music, there is no place for communal differences and hostility. It is a great example of national integration because only here, that is in music, we see Hindus and Muslim musicians sitting together and partaking in musical concerts. His understanding was that if there was music and if music had its way, the communal violence will stop. It could be arrested. He says, I quote again, "We shall consider music in a narrow sense to mean the ability to sing and play a musical instrument." Is in a very narrow sense, if you are thinking that you singing or playing an instrument, that's very narrow interpretation of music. According to Gandhi, It has to be seen in its wider sense. True music is created only when life is attuned to a single tune and a single time beat. Music is born only where the strings of the heart are not out of tune. Unquote. He again, in a letter to Gurudev Rabindranath Thakur, he says, our whole life should be sweet and musical like a song. To make life musical is to make it one with God, to merge it with Him. He who has not rid himself of raga and dvesha, love and hatred, likes and dislikes, who has not tasted the joy of service, cannot have any understanding of celestial music. It is coming from the outer space, from somewhere from the blue skies. It is not something that existed, you picked it up, you dumped it. No, it's a gift. There was another letter to Gurudev that Gandhiji wrote, and he said, telling Gurudev when he went to Shantiniketan in 1915 and many visits at later dates. Every time Gandhi was welcomed with either Baul music or Rabindra Sangeet. Gandhi liked it. Compared to his first meetings and the music pieces played when in 1915 he had just reached Bombay, the then Bombay. Gandhi liked it, but he had some, he had given some thought to it. And he writes to Gurudev saying that Rabindra Sangeet, the Baul and folk music is amazing. It uplifts the soul. If you could give place to both Hindustani as well as Western music their due place at Shantiniketan, along with Bengali music, it will reveal the true meaning of life. He kept on saying this, and he had already, after the Sabarmati, the salt movement, Gandhi had vowed that he would not return to Sabarmati. So he had settled in Wardha in Maharashtra. And there's an interesting story before I, go for the next piece of music. There was a sitar player in Wardha, not Wardha, he was not from Wardha, but from Maharashtra. And he wanted to play for Gandhi. Gandhi was busy. The Congress Working Committee meetings were one after the other, and he had no time. But he agreed to listen to the sitar. When the gentleman reached and settled down to play the piece that he wanted to play, he saw Gandhi was spinning the charkha. And the charkha made atrocious noise. The cutter, it was not a great refined charkha that you see these days. It was an old wooden thing, and it made its own sweet sound. The musician thought it was an insult. Now, how can he play, the fine notes of sitar in the middle of this cut of the charkha, the spinning wheel? But there was no way that he could get another opportunity. So he decided to play. The musician later, in his autobiography, writes that a few minutes into the piece that I was playing, I realized there was rhythm in the spinning wheels sound. There was order in the sound. There was melody in the sound that he initially thought was a nuisance. Maybe Gandhi was able to see that much before than any of us would realize. It was 1946, and just before independence, there was violence in Bengal, and in Noakhali particularly. वहाँ बहुत लोगों को समस्या थी. लोगों की प्रॉब्लम इसलिए भी थी कि उनको लगता था कि जो सरकार है बंगाल की, वो मुस्लिम लीग की सरकार है और वो मुसलमानों को रोक नहीं रही है हमले हिंदुओं पर. गांधी ने तय किया कि वो नोआखाली जाएंगे और वहाँ रहेंगे जब तक वो तमाम उसके डिस्क्रिप्शंस आप मिलते हैं किताबों में नोआखाली की यात्रा के. वो अकेले चले जाते हैं, वो बांस के पुल से नदियां पार करते हैं, वो उन घरों में जाते हैं जिसमें लोग नहीं मिलते, स्केलेटन्स मिलते, कंकाल मिलते, और उन्हें लगता है कि जब वो घर से निकल रहे हैं तो वो स्केलेटन्स को हाथ हिलाकर उनको विदा कर रहे हैं और वो कहते हैं कि हम कहाँ आ गए, क्या हो गया. फिर उनको लगता है कि ये क्या, इसका अंत ही नहीं होगा कोई, मुझे क्या करना चाहिए. श्रीरामपुर में जिस टूटी झोपड़ी में, टिन की छत वाली झोपड़ी में गांधी ठहरे हुए थे, सुचेता कृपलानी उनसे 4 गांव छोड़कर थोड़ी दूर पर थी, वहां काम कर रही थी. दूसरे और तमाम लोग थे. मनु वहां थी, मनु गांधी, मनु बेन. गांधी को ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा था कि नोआखाली छोड़ना उनकी कल्पना से बाहर थी, हिंसा उनकी कल्पना से बाहर थी, सत्य उनकी आंख के सामने था. He could see the naked truth. और उस पर से तमाम तरह के आरोप कि गांधी यहाँ इसलिए आए हैं कि यहाँ हिंदू, वो बिहार इसलिए नहीं जा रहे हैं कि वहां मारे जाने वाले लोग, ज्यादा लोग मुसलमान. तो क्या होना चाहिए. एंड गांधी रिमेम्बर्ड Gurudev's immortal lines, एकला चलो रे. Could we have the song?
যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে. যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে. একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো রে. যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে. যদি কেউ কথা না কয়, ওরে ও অভাগা, কেউ কথা না কয়. যদি সবাই থাকে মুখ ফিরায়ে, সবাই করে ভয়, তবে পরাণ খুলে ও তোর মুখ ফুটে তোর মনের কথা একলা বলো রে. যদি তোর ডাক ডাক শুনে কেউ নাই আসে তবে একলা চলো
When you are all alone, when you think nobody listens to you, go alone. Go the distance. You know, this is spirit of that song, although it is a much later composition. In the original Ravindra Sangeet, you have variations to the way it is sung. But Gandhi walking with his stick, barefoot, crossing the rivers from the bamboo bridges that were, especially made for him. There were no boats. I mean, there were boats, but there were no boatmen to take him across the rivers. And there were, rivers aplenty in Noakhali region. The Meghna and the tributaries of Meghna, they fill the entire area with water, and their rivers and rivulets and ponds and huge ponds, water bodies that you cannot cross but to have, before you have a boat. And Gandhi walked alone as Gurudev suggested, as Gurudev wrote in the song. This is 1946, and in the same period, Gandhi, heard a number sung, especially in a public meeting that he was to address in Chennai, then Madras. The words were Mamoa Patta Virama. And, this song, it so touched Gandhi that he got it written down in Tamil. He knew Tamil. He could write in Tamil. He got it translated. He put somebody to work. There was a Gujarati version of Mamoa Patta Virama. And, it was then translated into Hindustani and number of other languages spoken in India. He would never get tired of listening. In 1947, Gandhi conveyed a message to M.S. Subbulakshmi, requesting her to sing one of Mirabai's bhajans, Hari Tum Haro Man Ki Peer. The message reached MS, and MS Subbulakshmi was not aware of the song, didn't know the exact meaning of it. And, she probably was reluctant. She thought she would not be able to do justice if she did not understand the words correctly. So she requested Sadashivam to convey to the Mahatma that he should ask someone else sing the song. Telephones were rare those days, but both MS and Gandhi had access to it, and Gandhi instantly, on getting the message, called and told Sadashivam that I would rather have MS speak the song than anyone else sing it. The recording studios were opened at night in Madras. MS composed the song, sang it, and the next morning it was sent to Delhi. It was this song that next year, 1948, 30th of January, when Gandhi was shot. fatally, the All India Radio played it. Hari Tumharo Jan Ki Peen. Could we have this?
जन के भेर हरे तुम हरो जन के भेर द्रौपदी के लाज राखी तुम बढ़ायो द्रौपदी के लाज राखी तुम बढ़ायो जी हरि तुम्हारो जन के भक्त कारण रूप नर हरि धर्यो आप शरीर भक्त कारण रूप नर हरि धर्यो आप शरीर हरि न कश्यप मारलीन हो हरि न कश्यप मारलीन हो धर्यो नागिन थे हरि तुम्हारो जन के थे।
This particular song was composed in Rag Darbari Khandra. And this is, one of the most beautiful numbers that you can think of in Darbari Khandra. A lot of great musicians have, set many songs to Darbari Khandra, but nothing beats M.S. Subbulakshmi's this rendition. Before I end what I'm talking about, I can go on and on telling stories about Gandhi and music, but just a small story from Banaras. Gandhi was in Banaras in 1927. Again, for the Harijan Fund, he was there to collect money for the fund that he was trying to set up. And he heard that one of the famous court singers, Gauhar Jan, is in Banaras. She was immensely popular. Everybody, would pay money to go and listen to Gauhar Jan. Gandhi made a request. He said, I will not give you anything, but for the national cause, you must sing a song for me. Gauhar Jan couldn't believe her ears that here was somebody, a tall figure like Mahatma Gandhi, requesting a court singer to sing for her. Gandhi said, the money that we earn from this performance will go to the Harijan Fund. Gauhar Jan was reluctant. She didn't know what to do. But ultimately, she decided she will sing, and she did. And that collection was more than, the collection that day was more than a week's collection preceding it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madhukar ji. We've run out of time, but we have two questions.
I know I took far too long.
Yeah, not at all. It was absolutely wonderful. Quickly, I'm going to ask these two questions before we end the session. Veena Ravikumar asks, Philip Glass put together a beautiful musical, Satyagraha. what was it inspired by? Would you have any information on this?
Sorry, could you come again?
Philip Glass put together a beautiful musical together, Satyagraha. What was it inspired by?
I have no clue on that. I mean, I can't say I have read about it, and this question also crossed my mind. I have not been able to lay my hands on anything to confirm or say, authoritatively that this is where it comes from. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but this is how it is.
And the second question from Biju Negi, who asks, is there any visual of Gandhi dancing, like, to Auld Lang Syne?
Auld Lang Syne, no, I haven't seen any. Maybe because there was a lady who had a camera, and she sent one boy to her house to get the camera. I don't know if she was able to click, and if at all, whether that picture survives. Somebody has to dig it out. I mean, I haven't seen it, but maybe yes.
Okay, with that, I'm afraid we have to bring the session to an end. Thank you so much for such a lovely and eye-opening session, making all the musical connections and sharing these anecdotes gives us a new aspect to celebrate tomorrow. Thank you again, Madhukar ji. And do join us for tomorrow's conversation between Trideep Shurit, who will be in conversation with Chandan Gowda at 5 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you again for joining us this evening.